Hello, this is JM83, and this is the third episode of the Pierre Gasly Career mode. And we're just starting in the paddock here with our engineer telling us about upgrades, I think. And what's it going to be? It's a new chassis, weight reduced by 5 kilograms, and that will help with the general feel of the balance of the car, which was good because the Toro Rosso was pretty terrible in Australia, I remember, and not great in Bahrain, although we got a decent result in 10th place, I suppose. Not enough points to get anything else, but then into practice for China. And it looks like it's going to be a completely purple lap for I think the third time in a row we've got this. Track acclimatization is pretty straightforward once you know the tracks a bit. And yeah, it's going to be a full purple lap, which I get is the purple score obviously, and 50 resource points. You get one of the team objectives there as well on the left. And into the qualifying pace, I'm up at the minute, but then the butcher the last corner and miss the apex, so lose a load of time on the delta. So it looks like I'm going to be failing the qualifying pace, which is a shame because we miss out on the points, unless I can do it later on in the weekend in the other two practice sessions. But yeah, not good enough to get the target time. But then in practice 2 it was wet, so I decided to go out again on the wet tyres, or the intermediate tyres, which is much easier to get the thing because it's, I don't know, I just feel quicker in the wet compared to the AI cars anyway. And we're 1.5 seconds up on the delta, which is pretty promising because there's forecast for rain in the race as well. So hopefully I can carry this pace into the race, because that lap is provisionally, like the team put that in first place sort of, like the result at the top you saw there was first. And then into the qualifying for the first run, this is on the super soft tyres, coming into the turn 5 and 6 I think this is. Perez sets the first time in the session, which is fastest, but I completely mess up those two corners, missed the first one, which then compromised the second one. Probably lose close to a second in those two corners alone, which made that first run not a very promising run, so it wasn't very good that first lap. But then this is the second lap, I think. Yeah, it is, because I'm 16th in a minute, just ahead of Rio Haryanto. I've been getting a bit of slipstream off a button down the straight, and that's meant I'm about a second up on the previous lap, which will put me quite a lot higher on the grid, I assume. Rosberg's fastest at the minute. I'm 16th, but that will improve a lot, and we go up to P8. So that's a good place for the Toro Rosso really, because yeah, into the race, into the results, I'm 9th, just behind teammate Carlos Sainz. But like, we're not really going to be challenging the Williams, Ferraris, Red Bulls, and Mercedes very much. Although we did get ahead of Felipe Massa. I didn't quite see who was on pole, but I think it was Lewis Hamilton. I'm not quite sure, but.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance amongst the 15 million people of Shanghai over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bit to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix.
So, into the grid, it is raining as we predicted, so it's only going to be raining for the first little bit of the race though, so it's going to get dry by the end. I underfuel the car quite a lot because you have to be running quite low rev, to minimise the wheel spin in the wet, and into 5 red lights for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix. Lights out, and it's not a great initial start. It looks like a bog down compared to Bottas and Sainz anyway. But then on the extremely light car, we get an absolutely amazing run compared to everyone else, but then get stuck behind Ricciardo a bit. Can we find the gap around the outside? Yes, we can. That is a great move from Ricciardo. Can we send it around the outside of Vettel as well? And that is up to 4th currently. We're on the outside of Verstappen as well, but that's not going to come off. But we went from about 9th to 4th around the space of turn 1 at China, around the outside of absolutely everyone, and that was a lovely move. But now Verstappen is still on the inside. I'm going to get in the slipstream, just put it up to standard revs, and go right up the inside of turn 4, I think this is. And that is 3rd place in the first sector of the Chinese Grand Prix. And we're only behind the Mercedes after starting in 9th. So that has not been a bad start, to say the least. But now Rosberg has overtaken Hamilton, but now both of them are going to be battling, I think, into the hairpin. And we're picking up a massive slipstream from the two Mercedes. Rosberg moves over on Hamilton, so they both lose momentum. I brake extremely late, send one up the inside of Rosberg quite a lot by accident. Seems like we're on the outside now into the last corner, and hopefully I can get this move done. But Rosberg has moved back across with his good Mercedes traction. I take out the bollard, but ignore that. And it looks like the slipstream is coming out. Hamilton sets fastest lap because it's the end of the first lap. We're on the outside of Rosberg, and we should have this done by the braking zone. And yes, we do, up to 2nd place of the Chinese Grand Prix in the Toro Rosso for Pierre Gasly. Rosberg's still there, but it looks like he's going to have to back down, and he does. So that's 2nd place, only behind Lewis Hamilton now by the start of lap 2. Made up 7 positions already. That is not a bad effort. So here's a replay of the start then. So the lights go out. I'm in 9th place there, the 5th car behind that big queue. Bottas gets a very good launch. I get a bad one compared to everyone around me. But then you can just see the attraction, the lightness of the car really helped with that. But I get stuck behind Ricciardo, who's not had a good start either. I'm just in the background there. You can see it was 4 wide with the Ferrari, Williams, Red Bull and me. And I go around the outside of all 3 of the cars on the inside. Here's a replay from Felipe Massa to see what happened. He's starting 10th. I'm on the left there. So he gets a good start compared to me. But then, so he's up to 9th at this point, I think. Carlos Sainz goes to the inside. I get a massive overspeed compared to everyone else. And here we go, 4 wide. I'm right around the outside of all 3 of those cars. There's a bit of contact between Red Bull and Bottas, that is. I'm still up there with the 2 Ferraris. They make contact as well. But I'm up to 4th place, which is an absolutely ridiculous start. And it's probably the best start I've made this year on the F1 2016 game, to be honest. I was extremely happy with that start. Ricciardo from 5th place doesn't get a good start at all, which means I'm bogged down behind him. So he's going to stick around the outside. We'll see just how close the gap was. So I'm coming on the left right now. There it is. There was not really enough space there, and then they're outside of Vettel, I think, as well. Raikkonen and Vettel make a slight bit of contact, but I'm up into 4th place, and we made that second by the end of the second lap. Sorry. Now I've cut quite a long way into the race, down to lap 10. My intermediates are wearing out a lot, but I've managed to pull quite a big gap to Rosberg. Hamilton's a bit ahead, but it was really weird. I sort of had the pace to stick with Hamilton and to pull away from the rest of the field, which is really good. We saw in the when a safety car's been deployed. That is interesting, to say the least. So lean mix, safety car has been deployed, lower the pace. So I'm 2nd at the minute. This will neutralise the race. I think I'm going to pit, because by the end of the safety car period, it'll be dry tyres weather. So I'm going to jump into the pit lane. Hamilton doesn't come into the pits. I don't do a Lewis Hamilton from 2007. Safety cars come out. I'll brake for the line. I think fit a set of medium tyres, and that will go quite a long way into the race. Probably not to the end, because China's really bad for tyre wear. But yeah, I've taken this little gamble because Hamilton didn't come in, so it's a bit of a risk because the rest of the field might not either. Actually, they are in the background, well, some of them are anyway. Ricciardo is going to overtake me, I think, but everyone else at least isn't going to come in. Quite a few cars have, so come out in 3rd place. But then Raikkonen comes out of nowhere, crashes into my side, and almost sends me for a spin, but I managed to catch it, and that loses him about 5 positions. And this is a bit weird. So Raikkonen here, he just comes in, crashes into my side, and then spins out, and that's the 3rd time in 3 races that I've crashed into Kimi Raikkonen at some point. Because we had that massive pile up in Australia, and I took it out on the first lap in China, and then he tried taking me out here. But then as we see, by the end of the safety car period, I think this is the last lap now of the safety car, and all the people who didn't pit have pitted now. So I now lead the Chinese Grand Prix on the safety car restart. I think it's the first time Gasly has led an F1 race. I'm taking it extremely slowly for the restart, bog down everyone, because why not, and decent tyre wear, as you'd expect, because I pitted not so long ago, and into the lead, onto lap 14. But then in the background, Lewis Hamilton is now at the race, which is very odd. I think he must have had an engine failure, because there's no other reason. Here it is, and we've got some team radio. And Lewis Hamilton obviously distraught there with the engine letting go in the Chinese Grand Prix when he's got quite a good chance of winning, because all the AI cars definitely have the pace over me, as we can see here. Rosberg already all over my back on the first lap of the race, and he looks like he's going to try and get past. Jensen Button's also out of the race, and on the minimap you can see he's pulled off to the side. Here is Rosberg and Verstappen, who are both going to gobble me up at this rate. They've both got slipstream and a better engine. Rosberg is going to go for a move, I assume, actually. No, he isn't. I've blocked him off, and that makes it about 3 wide into the hairpin. Verstappen, Rosberg and Vettel, and Rosberg's actually down to 4th, and Vettel has come out of nowhere up into 2nd place. And that is a great move by Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari. And in the background, Rosberg also comes into the pit lane, which is quite an odd move, considering he pitted about 2 laps ago. But I won't question it. Here's a replay of Jensen Button, obviously. Disappointing for 2 of the British drivers to go out, but in this series I'm not British, so I'm not too bothered, because Pierre Gasly's French, obviously. Here we have, on the very next lap, Sebastian Vettel going for the move round the outside, try and force him out of it, but I've got to leave him the space because he's still up the inside. And Sebastian Vettel looks like he's definitely got the pace to overtake me. It's probably most of the air cars doing the dry, because as we saw from the qualifying pace in practice, I'm really not that strong in the dry weather. And here come all 4 cars. Ricciardo, Verstappen, Vettel and myself are going to be battling into the hairpin. Here it is for an external camera. Ricciardo's down the inside and Vettel is forced out to 3rd, but then Verstappen gets caught and spins around and makes a car park thing, and then right behind me Vettel and Ricciardo are side by side into turn 1, and this is great battling in a Chinese Grand Prix. Vettel's still up the inside and it looks like he's just about got enough to see out Ricciardo. It looks like it's a very close battle between the former teammates. Oh no, Ricciardo actually stays ahead, and here he is now. I got defensive into this corner for the 3rd lap in a row, still in the lead, with only Ricciardo and Vettel really battling me now after this Verstappen spin. So it looks slightly stronger than it did a lap ago because I've only got 2 cars behind me rather than 4. But Ricciardo and Vettel look like they're going to have a massive slipstream effect, and Ricciardo's got the outside line. It looks like he's got the overspeed, and he's going to move into 1st place for the sister team of Red Bull. And unless I can hold it at the inside, which looks reasonably likely because he didn't pull that much of a gap. So yeah, Ricciardo's kept it around the outside though, and he's made a great move around the outside of me into the hairpin. And then he's looked like he's going to just run away with this race now because he's on the better tyres. He's in a much faster car, he's faster driver in these conditions. But hopefully I can hold up Vettel for as long as possible to help the sister team out. But then I miss the turning completely and Vettel just takes 2nd place quite easily. Although I try and hold it, but it's to no avail because Vettel has the better traction and the inside line for the long turn to make a bit of contact. But I'm down to 3rd place now, which is a bit disappointing. And because these guys are in soft tyres, they're going to pull away a lot after I'm not holding them up anymore. Hopefully I can stick with them and try and beat some of the guys behind me, which would be nice. But I'm not sure it's very possible at this point because they're all in very strong cars. It's lucky. Oh, actually, Ricciardo and Vettel both pit on lap 17. I'll stop what I'm saying. And I'm back into the lead, but rather annoyingly at this point, because we chose different tyre strategies, they pitted onto the mediums but still had the pace over me, whereas I couldn't cover their pit stop because I was on mediums, so it would have been pointless me pitting again onto another set of mediums. But on lap 22 now, quite a few more laps gone, I'm pitting onto the soft tyres now, almost to a Lewis Hamilton, but managed to avoid the gravel trap on the outside. Brake for the marker, and I'm coming in to fit a set of soft tyres, and this will drop me definitely behind Ricciardo and Vettel, who are still battling for the lead. I'm not sure who's going to win this race at this point, but as we see on the minimap, there they go, and they're still very closely matched, and it's going to be a good battle for the win, I reckon. And Valtteri Bottas is there on the minimap as well. He's going to come past up into 3rd place for Bottas, 4th for me, and I'm just about going to come behind Verstappen as well. Hopefully I can apply the pressure to both of these drivers because I'm on the much faster tyre now, and I can just push to the end with only 5 laps remaining. So hopefully I'm going to try and make as much progress as possible with a few laps left, much like in Bahrain where I pitted onto the super softs at the end. All of these guys are on warm mediums, I'm on fresh super softs. Hopefully I can get as far up the field as possible. Maybe 3rd place is on the cards if we can catch up to Bottas, but I'm not sure yet. And here we are onto my out lap still of the pit stop. And we're going to have massive overspeed on Verstappen because I've also got rich revs to use the whole remainder of this race. Go up the inside of Verstappen and move up into 4th place, which is an extremely strong result for the Toro Rosso currently. It might even be a podium if we can get Valtteri Bottas, which would be an amazing result. Got 4 laps left, the gap is 3 seconds, so it is possible, but by lap 26 my soft tyres have lost their edge of being new, so Verstappen is coming back at least. It's more of a level playing field. It looks like I'm not going to be able to catch Bottas very easily when I'm battling Verstappen, so it looks like 4th place is going to be the best on the table if we can manage to hold off Verstappen for these last 2 laps. I've also run out of fuel, or I'm no longer positive on the fuel mix, so I have to run more standard revs for the rest of the race. But on tyre 27 now, the tyres are wearing a lot. Verstappen fakes to the left, dives to the right, and he goes up the inside. I can duck back into the slipstream, and actually I'm not going to duck, I'm just going to stay around the outside, force him to take a much narrower line, and he makes contact slightly with me. He gets a better exit, but my rear tyres at least are still kind of fresh, so I'm still getting very good traction off the corners thanks to that. And the DRS zones here allow me to get straight back in the slipstream and have the overspeed of Verstappen into turn 1, which means I can go up the inside back into 4th place, which is a very, that would help loads considering I've only had 1 point so far. If we get 12, then that'll cannon me up the championship tables. But ahead of Verstappen again, I'm pretty sure someone in the Red Bull is going to be pulling their hair out at this point, with the sister team battling the big team for genuine position at this point. But onto the last lap now, Verstappen he goes to the inside, unlike most of this race where people have been finding the outside of this corner. He actually goes to the inside, which allows me to run him out of road a bit on the long right-hander after it. So that will hopefully be enough to stay ahead of Verstappen. I've put it into lean mix for this last lap so I can run rich revs down this straight to fend off the attack from Verstappen. But here he comes. He's not even got DRS yet. That's active now, and he's down the outside with the faster car, straight line speed, and he's going to send it to the other side. I've got a higher top speed though, it seems, as I kind of got back ahead, and that is up the inside to maintain the position of 4th place. Sebastian Vettel has won the race. I think Ricciardo is going to get 2nd, and Valtteri Bottas is going to get a good podium for Williams, and this is going to be 4th place for Gasly, and what a result that is.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race. And after this round of the World
So results then, 4th place for Gasly is the best result of the season. Carlos Sainz is 7th, which is a very strong result for the Toro Rosso. Getting 18 points collectively though, which is actually more than Mercedes managed, as Rosberg got 1 point in 10, and Hamilton DNF'd with that engine failure. So Sebastian Vettel wins from 2-second gap to Ricciardo behind, then Bottas, myself and Verstappen and make up the top 5. Alonso with a good result in 5th place for McLaren, and Hülkenberg, Raikkonen and Rosberg. Raikkonen and Rosberg certainly underperforming their cars a lot. Perez misses out on points once again with his 2nd 11th place, and Hamilton DNF'd obviously, but the standings are up to 7th place, and that is very good, beating our rival with that achievement, you see. But Vettel has taken the lead of the championship after Hamilton's DNF, and Rosberg makes up 3rd place. A lot of drivers still haven't scored many points yet, but 7th place currently, thanks to a 4th and a 10th, is best of the rest after the Red Bulls, Ferraris and Mercedes, although I think Raikkonen is still below me. They come into resource points, a lot of resource points. I think that's just about going to make up 388 and win the rivalry against Sainz, and make up loads of time on the driver position thanks to beating Sainz generally and winning the rivalry, etc. Career score doesn't matter, but that's going to be the end of this episode of Pierre's Path to Glory, sorry. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have, then leave a like and subscribe for more. This has been JM183, and I will see you next time.